Using Choose My Plate as our guide through the grocery store, we're in the grain aisle. This aisle, you'll generally in this aisle find breads and cereals. The key in Choose My Plate and making healthy choices with grains is to look for grains that are whole grain. So when we're looking at breads in particular, there's many to choose from. And just as a rule of thumb, all bread is made of wheat. But some bread is more refined wheat flour, which is what white bread is. White bread still is wheat bread, but it does not have all of the dietary fiber and minerals and vitamins that are found in whole wheat bread. The way to find out what kind of bread you're getting is not necessarily to look at the package or look at the color of the bread, but to look at the ingredient statement. When you look at white bread, the ingredient statement is found on the nutrition facts panel. And it will say enriched white flour, enriched wheat flour. Well, when a grain is refined, it becomes enriched wheat flour. Now, a whole grain bread often is very dark in color, but again, you need to look at the nutrition facts panel. This bread is 100% whole wheat, and the very first ingredient is whole grain wheat flour. The difference also is that when you get a whole wheat flour and a whole grain, you're getting more dietary fiber. Generally, white bread contains about 1 gram of dietary fiber, whereas your whole wheat breads contain anywhere from 3, 4, 5 grams of dietary fiber. The average person needs between 24 and 28 grams of dietary fiber a day. Now, in Choose My Plate, we want about 1/4 of our plate to be grains. Half of those grains we want to make choices as being whole grains. So including white bread, if that's the kind of bread you like, it can fit, but you want to make other choices that would include whole grains. So when you talk about pasta and rice, again, you have the situation of whole grain versus refined. When you talk about rice, you're looking at brown rice. This is whole grain brown rice. Again, if you look at the ingredient statement, which is found by the Nutrition Facts panel, the very first ingredient is whole grain brown rice. It's the same with pasta. The first ingredient is whole wheat flour. So you're getting more dietary fiber and you're getting the additional nutrients that you get from something that is less processed. Now, again, some people don't like the taste of it. There's no issue with making a choice of white pasta over wheat pasta, or over whole wheat pasta, but making that choice more often of a whole grain product is a good choice. When you start to look at cereals, that's another area. When you're talking about the areas of grains, you can talk about different kinds of cereals, and everyone's familiar with Raisin Bran. And Raisin Bran has 2 things going for it: whole wheat flakes as well as dried raisins, which give you double the dietary fiber. Again, though, the first ingredient, you look at the Nutrition Facts panel, and the first ingredient is whole wheat. If you're talking about a hot cereal, you're talking about something like a Mother's Oats or old-fashioned oats as being the greatest source of dietary fiber. The very first ingredient is whole grain oats. And when you talk about oatmeal, that's an easy one when you're trying to think of something you might want to pack your breakfast for work. You can use this kind of oatmeal versus instant oatmeal, and you can make it in the microwave just in the same fashion as you do instant oatmeal, and you get a lot more portions for this container than you do in a box of instant oatmeal. Another source of whole grain, a lot of people use cornmeal for cereals or for baking. Whole grain cornmeal has much more dietary fiber and nutrients than refined cornmeal might have. And then finally, with snack foods, you're looking at different choices. There's a lot of different crackers out there, but again, it's the same rule. Look at the Nutrition Facts panel. The first ingredient here is whole grain wheat, and you're getting good sources of dietary fiber. You want to find something with lesser amounts of ingredients. The more it is going toward the natural product, the more likely you are to get more dietary fiber. There's also other sources of whole grain crackers like rice crackers, and those too, if it's the first ingredient is brown rice, then you're going to be getting more dietary fiber than you would be if it was coming from white rice. And then finally, popcorn is a good healthy snack, a good source of dietary fiber, and low in calories when it's plain unpopped popcorn. And you can flavor it lightly, but you control the flavoring that goes on it. So when you're thinking of grains, we want to just remember with Choose My Plate, we have grains that we're making a quarter of our plate grains, half of them whole grains. The grains that we're looking at are coming from breads, cereals, rice, pasta, and popcorn as sources of dietary fiber and carbohydrates in our diet.